Audio Jungle.
Welcome to Coffee Talk. I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba. This is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Stay tuned. Welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast. This is the Cultural Variety Podcast show, and I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba, and this is Coffee Talk Podcast. Welcome to the show tonight. How y'all doing? Well. A lot in the news. Well, we've just been trying to dodge it. Yes, we could go ahead and use some of the stuff that's in the news to get more likes, get more attention, like other news outlets, old and new. But here at Coffee Talk Podcast, man, we like to allow you or lead you out the way of escaping the matrix that we are living in. We like to pull you away from that. We like to pull you away from the drama, the consistent drama that happens every other day. Whether it's somebody we know getting killed, murdered, somebody we know going to jail, something bad in the news, some fear being pressed to you. You know, we're just trying to get you away from that. So Coffee Talk Podcast is that site, is that show, is that podcast where you can just escape. You can relax from a hard day, from a hard life, because life be lifing. You can get home, you can unwind. You can turn off all channels of communication of getting hold to you, and you can just focus here on Coffee Talk Podcast, pour you a little something, and enjoy your evening. This is what Coffee Talk Podcast is about on a Sunday, Monday night, which is our cultural studies night. So I'm happy to have you here. Today is April 7th, 2024. And as we get ready to start our show, I just want to give you another round of applause for, subscribing, for sharing, for liking our show, for talking about our show, passing the long word of the mouth. You know, we're just happy that you found you a podcast that you can come and chill and get some flavor. So, before we get into our show, I like to go from 0 to 3, with 3 being an excellent day, with 2 being an all right day and you did get to accomplish some of the things that you set out to do, or 1 being a day where you just want to start over. Go ahead and leave one of those numbers in the chat box. Let us know how you're feeling. And if you're not having a good day and there's nobody around, please leave us a comment, especially if you're on my personal page in my DM. And we'll definitely contact you, possibly be a resource for you, a shoulder to lean on, or even an ear just to listen. Other than that, we're sending everyone positive energy, your friends, your family, yourself. All right. So, as you know, if you've been following our show for these last 2 years, we never start the show without giving you the flavor, which is, just some flavor, something to put in your cream, your coffee, whatever. And then we also like to give you wise words. Wise words are affirmations. Those are poems or wise words that have been left presently or from our past scholars in the past, our ancestors or whatnot, those affirmations that they have left behind to push us forward. So that's what the wise words is. So let's go ahead and begin today's flavor. I selected this flavor because right now we in the Twin Cities. We in Minnesota right now. It's raining. It's cloudy. Not so much cold. It is warm for this type of season, which we are all enjoying, but it is kind of chilly and wet and sloppy timber weather, if you know what I mean. So tonight's flavor is a white chocolate latte. That's right, a white chocolate latte is tonight's flavor. Grab you a white chocolate latte, add you some almond milk, some whipped cream, and some caramel, and just enjoy your night. Grab your favorite comforter or whatever you want to snuggle on. Turn on your computer or whatever that can bring you Coffee Talk Podcast and enjoy the show. That's tonight's flavor, a white chocolate latte. Whatever you sipping on, though, go ahead and leave it in the comments, whether that is a water, some wine, a smoothie, a latte, a coffee, a hot chocolate on this cloudy day. Let me know what you are sipping on, so leave that in the comments. Moving right along. Our wise words for tonight. Our wise words for tonight comes from a record executive, a businessman, and an author. He founded Ill Will Records, home of great artist Nas. This brother was born June 26, 1970 in New York City. And again, this is one of the great music execs, Steve Stout. That's right, Steve Stout. Steve Stout has this as wise words. He says, great ideas can come from anywhere. There are no titles around an idea. I'll say it again. Great ideas can come from anywhere. There are no titles around an idea. Again, this is business executive, or should I say record executive, businessman, and author, Steve Stout. Welcome, 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 welcome. You know what it is. This is Coffee Talk Podcast, a cultural writing podcast show. This is our cultural studies night. Tonight, we're going to go ahead and dive right into this book right here called The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man by one of our great scholars, big sisters, mothers, our wisdom, SHAHRAZAD Ali. And what we'll be discussing tonight is chapter 6, which is entitled Employment. However, I like to title it as Employment/Business because it discusses what we have to go through as black men dealing with employment and business. So that's definitely what the topic is tonight. If you're just tuning in to Coffee Talk Podcast, definitely let us know you're here. Give us a shout out in the chat box. While you're there, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. But tonight we're talking about chapter 6, which is titled Employment/Business. And this is pages 96 through 99 of the book, The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man by SHAHRAZAD Ali. This part on page 96 that I'm going to read from, and there's only going to be 3 pages. And then we're going to do our breakdown as we always do on Cultural Studies Night. But this part is titled Freeing the Body, Freeing the Mind are 2 different motions. Let's go ahead and begin, shall we? It's not fair, or I'm sorry, let me start over. Freeing the body and freeing the mind are 2 completely different motions. It's not fair to charge black men across the board with being lazy and refusing to work. But he is sometimes known for evoking creative ways to avoid physical labor. The black man will, 1 through 6. Number 1, say that he can't find a job which pays enough to be worthwhile. Number 2, pretend to be injured under workman's comp, malingering such as a bad back, serious headaches, dizzy spells, or poor vision. Number 3, playing crazy to get unlimited free drugs and sympathy. Number 4, never moving out of his parents' house, usually his mother, and lets her continue to support and take care of them. Number 5, become a so-called professional student, stay in school or some type of training, changing his field of study, all to avoid executing a plan for day-by-day survival by working. And number 6, becoming an alcoholic or a drug addict to avoid dealing with reality, period. It's perfectly understandable that after the black man's release from slavery, the last thing he wanted to do was go back to work again. Another reason black men have problems working on a job is that it sometimes be difficult for him to understand what he's supposed to do. He may lapse on his ability to understand certain terminologies, experience discomfort at being directly given an order because he realizes immediately that he doesn't know how to do it. Black men do not always know how to mentally separate the steps of action required to complete a task. The salvaging of his intellect has already been addressed in the chapter discussing his learning disabilities. But another aspect to be considered is that his lack of self-worth or repression of his real nature causes him to feel so emasculated that he freezes mentally. This added to his unnatural inclination to not want anybody to tell him what to do makes it appear as if he is naturally hostile or slow-witted. But he is a man who all his life has been told, directed, or forced to obey other people. Black men in business say that it is extremely difficult for a black man to get another black man to work with the same attentiveness and level of energy that they seemingly deliver to a white male or white female boss. They say this is another example of how black men don't respect each other or think that a black man is qualified or justified in being his boss or supervisor. Black men who say they try to hire other black men say when employed, they are tardy too much, take too long for lunch, play around in a job, lie, take off from work for invalid reasons, will steal, undermine their efforts, argue back, sleep, come to work untidy, waste materials, work slow, and have all around lackadaisical attitude. These allegations are duly documented as typical of their work or some jobs supervised or owned by whites. White and black men complain of another kind of behavior he exhibits on the job. He plays the clown. He will pass notes or photos or displaying gutter humor and will stand and listen attentively at whites telling racist jokes and laugh as if they are funny. They will also laugh at any other kind of joke a white man might share with them. They still do a lot of grinning and shuffling to try to impress their white supervisors with their affability and secret flashback of being the happy slave. This is an old style tactic, move to get on the good side of the master. This is also called brown nosing, doing something to get special approval from the boss. Their thoughts and behaviors are contradictory to how they really feel, but they think that if they're present, their real personalities, they will be viewed as a threat for attempting to overpower the boss or make the boss uncomfortably by functioning as his equal. He has a lot to deal with. Every black man who is working or has ever worked in a majority white job site or has been employed as the token black has laughed at jokes that were not funny, not responded to incidents they viewed as racist, and allowed white males to disrespect them or insult unrelated black women in one way or another. He has swallowed all of this. It has given him a permanent lump in his throat and a crack in his mirror. Boss comes from an old German word called boson. Listen, people, boss comes from an old German word called boson, which means to beat. These days, many black men say that the economy is too slow to try to go into business or attempt to do anything to make money independent of the system. There are many benefits to going into business during hard times, if one can manage to get products or provide a service. A, what is a service? Large companies who streamline their operations, whose business is in recession and can no longer provide special attention or customer service to the little man or little enterprise. B, wholesale goods are lower priced, cheaper to acquire. C, office space is cheaper because of failed tenants. D, labor rates can be negotiated at a lower level. And E, there are many opportunities to sell lower priced items. Blacks who say they try to do business with black men in business complain as usual that their prices are too high. Delivery is too slow. They don't respond to calls in a timely fashion, will abscond with deposits, don't follow through on their warrants, sell defective products, and take too long to finish a job, or will abandon a job before completion after they are paid in full. They usually use these follow-ups to explain why they only spend about 7% of their income trying to do business with black men. Every nationality in America has established clearly defined districts in which many of them have come together in the same area and open businesses. Sometimes these areas spread over several blocks on both sides of the street or consist of mini malls or the like. They become booming trade and cultural centers and often tourist attractions. These ethnic groups come together and they agree to work together to form a business venture of some sort to display their capabilities to make a living in their own way. Chinatown districts, Hispanic, Asian, Korean businessmen are all known for basically working and living close together. They maintain their ethnic individuality while still obeying the rules and regulations to operate a business in America. The black man has few examples nationwide of this kind of business unity. If they are in the same business in the same town or state, they do not ordinarily come together about the needs or happenings in those businesses. They do not purchase together wholesale to get a better price. They do not share information about operational advances they have discovered. And they do not back each other up if one of them falls on financial difficulties. These practicals are unworkable for progress among like groups trying to earn a living off of the 280 million Americans. What's your thoughts on that, my people? What's your thoughts on the work ethic of so many of our men? Not all, of course. Does it seem like a large percentage of our men that have been incarcerated of some sort can work for those people because you now are a slave to them because you are a prisoner? But then when you come out, you still have the prisoner mind state because you don't want to work for yourself or build a business for yourself, overlooking all of the skill sets that you do have. What is the issue with our black men? And what did you take from these 3 pages that we discussed of Shahrazad Ali's discussion on black men in employment or business? Go ahead and leave a comment. Let us know. This is definitely Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast show. And how about what else stands out in our discussion tonight is our people when we have jobs and we work at Europeans' work sites, job sites, and how we can walk past one another without even a greeting. Isolating ourselves from one another. But then also being a revolving door of high turnover because we chose not to stick together. Somehow our socialization is blocked because in our backgrounds, all we hear is, your job is just your job. You ain't got no friends there. Which could be a true statement if you allow it. But if you know how to maneuver within your job, dealing with all kinds of different people, you can utilize it in a way of networking. And that's how you make your movements. What is y'all's thoughts tonight? What else stands out as we discuss freeing the body and freeing the mind, are two complete different motions? Let us know. And just to recap the 6 before we go, it says here, it's not fair to change black men across the board or charge. Let me repeat that, people. It's not fair to charge black men across the board with being lazy and refusing to work. But he is sometimes known for evoking creative ways to avoid physical labor. The black man will say that he can't find a job which pays enough to be worthwhile. He says that he will pretend to be injured under some type of workman comp and have malingering bad back pain and serious headaches and dizzy spells and poor vision. Or they'll start playing crazy. He'll start playing crazy to get unlimited free drugs or sympathy. Or he'll never want to move out of his parents' home, usually his mother's home, and lets her continue to support and take care of him. Or will become a so-called professional student and start going back to school or some type of training. And every time as he gets to the midpoint of that trade or school or that profession, he wants to change the field. It never finishes. Never finishes executing a plan from day-to-day survival by working. And also becoming an alcoholic or drug addict to avoid dealing with the reality, period. A lot of people you see right now on these trains is just taking what they call these blue pills. What's the word for what people are smoking now? The fentanyl and so forth. Leave that in the comments. Let us know. See, one of the things about us, man, if you ever really looking and paying attention, we glorify when we ain't working, when we ain't on our square, when we ain't doing the type of things that we supposed to do. We'll glorify that we on liquor. Or we'll glorify the drugs. And get mad at people that care about you and people that want you to recognize your own issues that's causing you to be victimized. We thought tonight we would have this discussion as it leads to more accountability amongst Black men. So we thank SHAHRAZAD Ali for writing that book back in the 90s, The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man. I recommend that everyone, male and female, in whatever race, support that book. Get your knowledge up. I don't know if y'all can see that. My green screen's on and the book is green, so I do apologize for that. But the title is The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man by SHAHRAZAD Ali. So that concludes our show for tonight. This is what we do. We love to encourage reading here at Coffee Talk Podcast. We love to pull you away from the matrix, to give you this moment of clarity, this moment where you could just get away and relax for 30 minutes and enjoy our show. Possibly you heard something that will make you want to do a redo-over, I should say. Possibly you done heard something to give you affirmation to push you forward. Possibly you done heard things so that you don't give up. Something that can empower you. That's what we bring here on Sundays, Monday nights, here at Coffee Talk Podcast. So that's our latest on our show tonight. I just want to go ahead and end the show by throwing up that universal peace sign and say I thank you for continuing to support our show. Continue sharing it by word of mouth as well as sharing where you can find us at. And you can find us on YouTube as well as Facebook. We appear 3 days out the week. And we're going to be getting ready for our third season soon in the next couple of months. So thank you for tuning in to Coffee Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Ms. Shuma Saba, and I'll see you again next week when you come to Cultural Studies Night. I'll holla. Peace.